Alright, for my second episode, I'm going to try Audiolab on my phone, which has a noise reducer. We're going to see if that works very well, and I'm also holding it instead of having it on my car stand, which I don't want to be a permanent solution, but I'm okay with holding it for a day. We're going to go into the third era, post-Calamity again. Bastion Torrent is who we're going to be following. This is a character that isn't super relevant to a grander story, but is probably my second favorite in the world. Bastion Torrent zips out of the building. He's screaming over his shoulder, laughing that he got away with it. He just stole one of the most priceless things in the underground. And this is not the same underground that you're thinking of. This isn't a cave or anything. This is the lowest level of Marina Bay. Marina Bay is a 3-tiered city built on top of water. It's a major location after the Calamity for trade and accessibility. It's great for shipping goods. It's great for manufacturing. It's really got everything. It's probably one of the last 5 cities in the entire world that is still standing and going strong. But here in the underground, it's a slum. It's dark, it's grimy, and it's rife with crime. And Bastion Torrent is just another one of its thieves. What he got was a red shard. The Boreal Shard. Now, in Elysium, there are shards that naturally form in the northern and southern hemisphere of the globe. Astral and Boreal shards. Astral shards are blue shards that grow in the north. Boreal shards are these nice crimson red shards that grow in the south. Well, Marina Bay is pretty high up north, so our red shard is going to be a great commodity that sells for a very high price. Now, the fun thing about it is, on its own, these shards don't do too much. But when you combine them, when you take a northern astral shard and a southern boreal shard, you notice that you can attach them to things, and they'll sort of remember a form or shape. This is what encourages transformative technology. Technology that Bastion Torrent can't get enough of. See, his main place is the underground of Marina Bay. But he's a traveler and a nomad. He's been collecting shards from the north and from the south, selling them when he doesn't need them, and making a huge profit. He doesn't do this for the money anymore. He doesn't know what he would spend it on. He's a tinkerer and a gadget smith. Everything he makes is his own to keep and use, and if he doesn't like it, he sells it. The shard that Bastion just stole was probably the most valuable thing in the underground of Marina Bay. Simply for the fact that the trade routes are closed right now. They haven't been able to get their boreal shards in about a month, and Bastion Torrent just stole the last one. Because he has something waiting for him under a tarp in an alley. It looks like a big, large gun. And you might be thinking, what could that turn into? Well, he's going to slot in the boreal shard in a little chamber he had fitted. And he's going to calibrate the shards. And this massive gun, this giant cannon, shifts before his eyes into a motorcycle. Bastion Torrent has a motorcycle that transforms into a cannon. And that is some of the coolest fucking technology we are going to see in Elysium. This guy is a fucking tech ninja. It's awesome. And of course he can get away now. He's got a fucking motorcycle in a post-calamity world where most people haven't seen a car in 200 years, let alone a cycle that's way more maneuverable. There are still bicycles. Technology hasn't been lost or forgotten, but the resources are harder to come by. Guns, for instance. Huge trade commodity. There's just no sustainable manufacturing for them anymore. Gunpowder is running low. There aren't stable factories. And the Lost Order has been confiscating and taking all the firearms that they can get their hands on. Because the Lost Order believes that the old technology must be preserved and the new world and its changes must be denied. And they put themselves at the top of a hierarchy that only they follow. They see themselves as the leaders for this world and the protectors of it. They see the aether and harmonics as evil and demonic, unnatural to this world. And they saw that the world collapsed, and they're here to take control and organize everybody. They see themselves as the saviors that will restore balance and keep people safe. And they don't think that there is a right to bear arms or anything American. Besides, there is no America in Elysium. This is Midland. Well, they have armed militias and troops that roam highways, and they do check-ins on small taverns and towns. And they do not want people to have firearms. That's one of their big deals. That's a big consequence of them. But Bastion Torrent is way ahead of them. And he doesn't really like what they stand for. So Bastion Torrent takes his fucking cycle and he's riding fast. And he's swerving between these alleyways. You hear kids screaming and older people faint at the sight of him. And you hear, holy shit, what is that thing? People are gasping and screaming, and he's knocking over booths and tables. And you hear whistles and cheers. A little thieves guild is cheering him on because they know that he's one of them, and he is the best. He breaks out from the Marina Bay, and you see the three-tiered city fading into the background as he rides some dirt roads, through the trees, down a hill, up onto an overgrown highway covered in vines and cracked and being pulled apart by the world itself. He mounts onto this highway, and he's driving through the overpass, and he looks down at a little camp with a black tarp and a fire going, and 6 soldiers for the old order. The Lost Order. And he slows his cycle to a stop, calls down to them, and when he gets their attention, they all draw their weapons immediately. They know who exactly this is. They all scope in, they all let fire their mags. Bang, 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 bang. And he laughs hysterically. None of this matters to him, and his little bunny ears are flopping. He takes cover, he's got the high ground, he calibrates the crystals, and his cycle transforms into the cannon that it is. And this is a not regular cannon. This is not firing bullets, not cannonballs. It's not a railgun, as cool as that is. But he has radioactive blasts that are being channeled into a fine point by mechanisms of Elysium's technology. And he hoists this massive chunk of metal over his shoulder, aims down at them, points his little finger, fires, fire away! And dirt blows up everywhere in the six scatter. They know that there's no fucking way that they're gonna beat him, and they just want to know what the fuck he's carrying. They're familiar with radioactive weaponry. It came about to fight the Aether. See, the Aether and the magic around us was made via a cellular organism that is the largest organism ever recorded. This magic is truly alive. And the Lost Order pioneered radioactive equipment to fight back. They treat the Aether like a cancer. And Bastion Torrent treats the Lost Order like a cancer. So he's turning that same radioactive technology that they pioneered back on them. And he is blowing them out of the water with it. Bang, bang, bang. It takes a minute to charge. He's laughing as they fade into the distance. And he cycles over to them, laughing. You thought you could get away. This is not just a cannon. I've been collecting shards my whole life. I transform everything I touch, and you think I'm just gonna let you get away? I can do things that you've never dreamed of. He turns it back into the cannon, hoists it over his shoulder, and he actually feels a sting in his shoulder. They had one more shot that they blasted into him, and now he's really angry. He's snarling as he fires it. And they just turn into red mist. Like, it's barely even gory. The cells that make up their blood and guts just poof, burn. And he kills all 6 of them, hops on his bike, and rides into the distance. And that's just the first episode of Bastion Torrent. It's loose, it's fun. It's not one of the more serious stories, but it is really exciting. And another one that I'm going to have to re-record.